There he is. Holy moly, there's all
Hey,
face. What is up, bro? There we go. How
there
are
we go.
you?
Doing good, man.
Good, good.
Just
Thank you
trying to
for doing
set
this
up
with me
here.
today.
Yeah.
I'm super pumped to do this. I've always wanted to do this, but I get nervous to do it. And so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna drag Mike into doing this with me
I'm
because
down.
that will make me less nervous until I can do it on my own.
Dude, I've been doing so much more body doubling
Have
lately,
you?
by the way. Yeah, I just did a body doubling session with a friend just now,
Did you?
actually. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's dope. That's dope. What did you
We
have
got
it
like
like
a
pre-set
standing
up?
appointment. Yeah. Yeah.
Love that.
Ironically today, one of the things like we'll usually tell each other what we're trying to do. And today one of his goals was to get his library card so that way he could reserve a room for us to do these meetings in. Cause a lot of times it's hard for him to get to the meetings because he doesn't have a place where he can meet me with.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense. Those library rooms are really cool.
Dude, yeah. I'm gonna give you a little tour of the place as I adjust my camera here. I think I'm almost done now.
You're fine.
There we go.
I want to start doing these out here in my garage, but I don't have an AC system in there. And it was like I walked out there earlier to grab something. It was like 96 degrees. I
Hmm.
remember the last time I tried to do it with you, and in there like that, and I was just in there sweating up a storm, just trying to maintain myself.
Yeah. That was
So I
good.
was like, "No, I'm doing it inside." So you guys might hear my son running around every once in a while, but totally cool. It's part of the experience, right? Real
Hmm.
stuff.
Yes. I like the
Uh,
pictures in the back, man. That's like
bro,
brain hemisphere.
there are. Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
brain hemispheres. Aren't those the raddest pictures? My wife bought those for me a few years ago, and I was like, "These are like my favorite pieces of art that I have."
I love
And
brain art, by the way. Yeah.
bro,
Hmm.
I'm obsessed with it. I love it. Like
Hmm.
I'd love to go to
Hmm.
one of those oddities places and get one. Just because I like brains. Not 'cause I do like oddities stuff, though I can't lie, but not all of it. But I do.
But the two
But
combined is even better.
yes, but Mike, I think you're gonna love this about this. This was when she gave it to me. This is what I noticed first thing. And I was kind of at a weird spot. I just learned that ADHD and I was like done with the honeymoon phase and in that like questioning and kind of angry type stuff and angry, like, why do I have this? And going through that. And
Is it
when I
even real?
yeah, all the things. And they weren't framed, they were all on top of each other. And it was this one and then this one and then that whoa, leaning back, that one was on bottom. And I was like, wow, these are so cool. And I got to this one, and the first thing I saw was a warrior's helmet. Right? Do you see it
Okay.
right there in the middle? Like a
Are we do
Spartan warrior
are we
helmet.
doing
There's the
Rorschach? Is this your Rorschach test on me here?
no, it's not. I just saw like a 300
Okay.
warrior's helmet. Those are the eyes. That's the top,
Okay.
and I can see it kind of comes down into here. And it was just,
Oh.
do you see that?
Oh. Yeah, okay, when you said 300, like the Spartan
They do
helmet with
that.
the
Look at
visor,
that.
yeah, and it goes down.
Is
I
that
got you.
perfect
I
actually?
got you. Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
I was like, that's like
Mhm.
warrior mindset type stuff. Yeah, it like fed me a little bit. And I was like, these have got to be hung up somewhere where people are gonna see them. So I wanted it as like my backdrop kind of. I always wanted this right here. This is perfect actually. I'm like living something. So this is
Can
great.
I tell you my Rorschach of that warrior before you told me it was a warrior?
Yes.
It looks like the Japanese symbol on the back of Ryu's gi from Street Fighter.
I wonder what that was. I wonder what that meaning was on the back of his.
Kind of warrior ish
Yeah,
too.
yeah. On the same thing.
Yeah,
So yeah,
she
that's that. But those are I think they're really rad. I really like them. So thank you for noticing that.
yeah. Let me just get my water and then I'm ready to break shit down. Well, speaking of,
Yes.
I should probably not swear too much.
Yeah,
I'm
I
sorry.
don't know how Facebook Live feels about that in the groups and whatnot,
Right.
but
I'll try to keep it to a minimum just in
yeah.
case. It's keyword try.
Try. We'll give her HE double hockey sticks the whole way.
Sugar honey iced tea is one I really like.
Sugar honey iced tea. That's funny.
Yeah.
All right,
Gotta
so
think about it.
today's today I really want to talk about consistency versus persistency. And the way this came up was early for me, it was early in the morning. It was like not even 6 yet. For you, your East Coast time, so it was like 7, almost 8.
When you let me know you're up early in the morning, by the
Right?
way,
You're like,
I'll
"He's
send
getting
you the shit.
messages." Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm in there, I'm working out, and my phone goes off, and I'm like, "Oh, it's Mike messaging right now. Okay." And so I read your message, and it says I'm glad I have it up right here, actually. Where is it at? So it says, "Persistence" oh, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, "Persistence is a more useful aim than consistency for the ADHD brain." And I read that, excuse me, and I was like, "Wait, what?" It sounded like you were saying the same thing, but I know these words don't mean the same thing, and so I was like,
Yes. Yes.
"Consistency, persistency," and I was like, "Those aren't the same things." And I, like, stopped my whole workout right there. Like, I'm mid-sweat, I'm, like, just peeking at, like, feeling good, and I was like, "Hold on. Consistency, consistency, one thing after another, repeating the same thing over and over again. Persistency is you fall off the horse and get back up."
Yeah.
And I
That's
was
kind of
like,
how I think of it.
"Okay." And then it says the why is consistency is too often confused for equal amounts of effort over time. When ADHD brains encounter this and fail, self-efficacy tanks. So things like RSD kick in, and the worst kind of RSD arguably is the you versus you
Hmm.
in.
Hmm.
Uh, Persistence, on the other hand, rewards a getting back on the horse mindset and has the potential to increase personal responsibility and traits associated with resilience. And I think resilience there is actually like the big thing, resilience. And consistency doesn't necessarily touch on resilience, does it?
No. Yeah. And I think,
And that's a
okay,
big deal.
so health communication nerd hat on basically is kind of where I was going with this because and I like sending you random health communication ideas because you're a coach and you're in it. You're in the field, we're in the thick of
Mhm.
it basically. And we know like the right words versus the wrong words and the outcomes that we'll get with those if we're not on top of it. And my master's was in it and I'm a certified nerd. But when I think of persistence and consistency, it gets a completely different type of like fire burning, you know?
Yep.
Um, and I've been reading a lot of stuff. This is a combination of me reading some things about like anti-fragility and resilience and the mountain that people need to climb and stuff like that. That's been kind of like theme of some books I've been reading. And then I
Okay.
listened to this podcast recently where this woman was talking about business growth for ADHD business owners. And then I thought of who's my other ADHD business owners out there?
I just got good information. Who can I share this with
Yeah,
that
yeah,
like this
yeah.
will matter to them?
Yeah. So because a lot of think times, and this kind of comes back to it too, a lot of times when I'm getting business advice, I'm getting this neurotypical business advice, and they say it to me like it's gonna just like work lock and key. And I'm like, you say this, but I don't think you understand the precursor to this that I have to like the fire I have to walk through.
Yeah.
Luckily, I know what the hell the fire is. He double hockey sticks. Hail. I do like hail.
Hey, yo.
I tried to stop myself.
Hail.
But this mindset of consistency, I think in an ADHD type of mind really messes with people. And the person who was talking about business ADHD business owners, she was talking about how persistence is so much more important. And she gave such amazing examples. And I was like, she's so right. She's so right because the trap I fall in, and I think everybody else falls in, is this thinking. And consistency doesn't mean this, but I think it gets interpreted as this. This is not like bashing out consistency. This is like how the ADHD mind digests consistency being like
Well,
onto them. I feel like
and couldn't consistency and persistency actually run together? Like you are
yes,
consistently persistent at this.
yes,
They can
yes,
run together. You can consistently be persistent
yeah,
or just be
yeah.
consistent.
But
You could be
but what people
consistently
think.
not persistent too. So maybe just being consistent really isn't that good of advice in the first dang place.
So the health communication angle from this is like there's the definition of the word and then there's how people use the word.
Okay.
Okay. So like how people tend in the circles that I see, it seems like the word consistency is used with the assumption that you're going to put the same amount of effort every time.
Okay.
Okay. And you're going to do it very frequently.
Say
Okay.
that. Say that part again. You say that part again.
The same amount of effort every time you do it,
Okay.
and you're gonna do that very frequently. An example
Yes.
is like
Okay.
every day, for
Every
example,
day.
okay?
Every day you're going to give this much effort all the
Yeah,
time.
right,
Yep.
okay? So, The problem is, especially with an ADHD mind, is that the same amount of effort every time, even though that's not really the definition of consistency. Consistency is just showing up. Okay.
Mhm.
But like when we say consistency is just showing up, it goes one out 1 year, out the other, over the head, nowhere near, you know,
Yeah,
it
yeah, yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
click. It doesn't
yeah.
click.
Uh-huh.
All right. But if you talk about persistence, like what can I do to just like make some step towards that thing that I have to do? Like I have to do this. And it almost creates like more of an identity type of strategy versus the a should type of strategy in my mind at least. It feels a
Yeah,
lot less should when I'm working on being persistent with something I care about. If I'm working on being consistent with something I care about, it's I should be consistent. When I'm working on being persistent with something I care about, I'm just trying to do something as often as possible. And I
okay.
think that's kind of like the magic spot, and I talk about this a lot, but I haven't actually put words to it. And
Mhm.
using persistence as the word has been working really well lately.
Yeah, when you said it to me, the first thing I thought about, so I was like, "Man, well, being consistent is hard for somebody who doesn't consistently have the neurochemicals running."
Yeah. Ooh, I like that.
Right? And
Yeah.
so if we don't have a consistency, which that consistency drives behavior,
Mhm.
then we don't have a way to be consistent within the behavior. An
Mhm.
ADHD brain's behavior is state driven, it's environment driven. I shouldn't say state, the state is driven by environment.
Mhm.
So it is it is teaching yourself to be persistent, trying to, like, get back on the horse persistently, like, you can fail, you can
Yeah.
fall off, that's the part of it, right? But we have to get up, and the getting back up on the horse is working through probably the rejection sensitivity that comes, the what happened, where did it happen, that sort of thing, but it's getting back on there again because not only is it a failure portion also, but outside of failure, there's a because we rabbit hole about things. We're interested in something for 3 weeks and then we're not. And then we get interested in it again and then we don't. And then we come back to it and we don't. And the way our brain works because of that is in a more persistent way. Right? It's okay to be like, this is too much for me right now. I'm putting it down,
Right.
but I'm not quitting. I'm gonna come back to this.
Right.
That's different, and
Mhm.
teaching coming back to it, and I think coming back to things involves supports. What do those supports look like coming back? Because if I don't feel like I have a support to come back to it, and I'm gonna walk back in, it's gonna feel like a punch in the face because of my rejection sensitivity, I'm out,
Dude. Okay, so
right?
I kinda planned this in a way, but it's been making itself more obvious to me. I'm not trying to like tease it, but I don't think we're gonna be able to talk about it a lot, but it has to do with what you just said. And I think I think we need to have it helps me a lot, I should say, to have a model. That's why body doubling works so well, for example. But it also, one of the things when I first lost all the weight, and I still refer back to this and I still use it with clientele and it still works all the time if we can get it to like start.
If we can
I,
get just that's the ADHD problem, right? Is
right.
getting it to start.
Yeah, especially like OGD.
And then it
ADs.
it it
Oh,
makes me sometimes wonder because they say I'm gonna tangent here for a second, but they
yeah.
say birds of a feather flock together, and I really do feel like a lot of my clients, like, think and things work the way my brain does and not the way a typical does, so I think it's funny you said if we can get it started, and it makes me, wonder, like, the motivation to get it started. I know I need to, but how do I do that? How do I have the
So,
neurochemicals to do that? And
so
maybe
what
you
I
just
do,
flock a lot of those clients to you, a lot of like-minded spicy brains. I don't know.
I think the way you get it started, or I think the most powerful way to get it started, and it's not the only way, is to work on visualizing. And this might just be like a visual type of person because some people don't have the ability to visualize as much.
Yeah.
But if you can write it down on paper or describe what is almost like the next level you. Does that make sense? So
Okay.
it's like, you remember WWJD when it was big?
Yep.
Okay. So WWJD is using a persona that as a model for actions and behaviors.
And for those of you guys
Um,
who don't remember, WWJD was What Would Jesus Do?
yeah, what would
Christmas.
Jesus do?
They were hot.
Yeah, yeah, and
I
you
wonder what happened to those.
dude, dude, people are I'm seeing WW blank D, like,
I
people
see
do it with
those
their
a lot, but
bosses.
like
Yeah,
I don't see the WWJD a whole lot. That's probably a whole
it'll
different
come back.
one of these.
It'll
Yeah,
come back.
yeah.
Yeah, in a
Anyway,
different form.
yeah.
Okay, but whenever I try and, like, dramatically transform something about myself, I have to visualize it in a lot of detail, a lot of detail. So and almost create, like, what would version 2.0, or, like, one of the things I heard recently is I'm 40 years old, so what's, like, version 4.1 look like? What's version 4.5 look like? What's version 5.0 look like? And then that helps a lot of times with me when I'm trying to be persistent, because I think of what that version or that archetype, you could say, maybe, would do. And then I that helps me, I don't know why, it helps me be more persistent. It feels a little bit more like body doubling, but I'm like making up the person in my imagination. But I can't make them up well unless I describe the details really well about it. So it's clear to me. But once it's clear, it's so much easier to pull that switch. And like the don't quit is what I've been using before this. And now I'm just calling it persistence, but it's been don't quit before this,
Yeah, don't
basically.
quit, persistence. Do
Yeah.
you think that that is your ability to become persistent because of you like myself have ADHD, so for those out here who don't know, Mike also has it, and
As I
that
like
is
as I like fidget under and below the
bro,
skin.
do you think that that version 4.0, 4.1, 4.2, that is your way of finding novelty? Right? Novelty creates dopamine. Dopamine
Yeah. Yeah.
creates behavior because it's exciting. You're like, "Ooh, that's new," right? And so, would you say maybe that's like where it
It's
comes from? It's this
definitely a
exciting
part of it.
place.
It's
Okay.
definitely a part of it. Yeah, like, that cues up a bunch of different it feels like a it feels almost like I'm using this sounds degrading in a way, though, but, like, I work in rehab, and I'm always trying to tell people to use, like, the aids when they need them,
Uh
you
huh.
know? Okay, so, like, sometimes people break a hip, okay, and you gotta use a walker for a little bit. It doesn't mean you, like, depend on that walker all the time. You use that walker to get you back to where you wanna be, right? It feels like a crutch a little bit in a way. Like, I think if I made it an alter ego, it would be a crutch and I might get like schizophrenia, you know? And then I might just start making other alter egos for different situations that I want to like make myself do. Like, I almost feel like that's the schizophrenia like path,
So
basically. But I
it's
think it's
funny
like
you just said
a,
alter ego. I want to come back to that part, the alter ego
yeah,
part.
it's like a heroic best version that gets me excited. Like that would be fucking awesome. Damn it, I swear again. That would be
Okay.
that would be awesome if I like was that basically. You know?
So it's funny you say that because competing in strongman when I went pro, I quickly got introduced to, really strong people like overnight, right? It was like,
Hmm.
all right, you're here now. And then I remember my first competition I went into as a pro, and like all the dudes I followed were suddenly there, and I took like second to last place. The only reason why I didn't take last place, the guy who took last place got injured. So there's that.
Uh-huh.
And so I ended up creating a alter ego superhero for him, and I've always been obsessed with Batman and Bruce Wayne. I love that dichotomy of, like, this very smart guy, but then also this Batman was like a vigilante, you know what I mean? And he served my injustice sensitivity, right? Like, that's what that was, but then none of those people served me as a strongman, and I created Mr. J, and that was why I got this, and, like, because this
Yeah.
created this person that, like, when I went in to compete, when I went in to train, I was Mr. J. I didn't have a wife and kids, I didn't have that, I was this chronically crazy, willing to just do, you know what I mean? And so
I
that's who
think you
I
go
went
down a
into.
different decision tree in your mind, dude.
Yeah, it
I
was
think
in if you game, you have those skill trees, and
mhm.
I would access a different skill tree, it felt
Yes.
like, with a different one. I was like, "Now I can be this person," and I really felt like that, and that's really what I tried to do, and I would perform and I would be him. It was like when you said be schizophrenic, I was like, if I stayed there, I could be that all the time. I could lock into that one because
Mm.
that one felt so good. He was reckless. He was like, you know what I mean? He was very
But
much just like
it
whatever.
scratched itches, and I think that's a
Yes.
part of figuring out what that next version of you looks like is you have to know
Mr.
yourself
J helped
enough.
me be persistent. That is I never
Yeah,
thought of
dude.
that, but becoming him helped me be more persistent there and
Mhm.
being Bruce Wayne and being the my different
Whatever,
facets that I think about,
whatever your
right?
flavor
Those help
is.
me be persistent in those
Mhm.
personas.
Right.
I like that. That's really good, man. If anybody
Mhm.
if when you guys somebody write that down. That is so good, Mike. That is so good.
That's the thing I thought of that was just today, and I was like, "I'm putting on my Thor outfit."
And I'm putting on my Thor outfit.
It's if I get to it, it's coming out. It's out now. So there you go.
That's crazy that you brought that up. That's really cool. Um,
Yeah, so that's like my number one how to make it happen kind of thing. But even that requires like you gotta sit down and think about it and you gotta
so
know
that was
yourself
gonna be my
enough.
next question is like, so somebody's watching and they're like, wow, that sounds like a good idea. Like if I want to be this, like for me when I'm trying to be like super ADHD dad and really handle the kids and in that portion of it, I go in more to that like Bruce Wayne archetype
Mhm,
there. And I don't know how I found that. Maybe I stumbled across it, but lucky me, right? So let's say there's a mom, a father, somebody watching this, and they're like, "That makes so much sense." But like, how do I do that? Like, how do
mm,
I sit down? How do I sit down and what questions do I ask myself? What do I like?
right.
What do you do? Walk me through your like process.
Man, you wanna talk about like a lifelong journey, basically. Like
If
you're
you had to
never
like
gonna
sum it up and make it like into a page for somebody to help them out,
Yeah,
like what would be the
exactly.
the key points?
If first off, the insurance statement is you're always changing and you're never going to be like one thing probably forever. Right. But you have some tendencies. And sometimes I think of tendencies that I like to ideally think of tendencies that are positive that I want to promote more of versus tendencies that are negative that I want to get rid of. It's a lot easier for me to promote positive tendencies and just forget about the negative tendencies. My
Yeah.
ADHD will take care of that, if I'm the other way. Sometimes I'll do like negative tendencies that I'll work on. But just like what are your tendencies? What are the things that you tend to repeat basically?
So
And
you
then
kind of take the
positive, I think positive, negative.
you kinda take the Gary V look of, like, don't work on the thing like, the negatives or the things that are small, like, find the things that you're really good at, like, keep working on the positive, the good stuff, like, be good at you, and that's okay, like, you don't have
I
to do
think
the
for
other stuff.
ADHD minds, it's more needed. I think it works for most minds, though,
Yeah,
I would say. Yeah.
yeah, I agree with that, I mean, and there are some things probably, like, if you're like, "Hey, this is, like, really not serving me or the
Yeah.
people around me," like, work
Yeah.
on that, but
Yeah.
probably frame it in a positive way, not like, "I'm a bad
Yeah.
person and I do this," so, like, work on your wording. Like,
Yeah. Or
this
like a
behavior
good way to get rid of negative things is just to get out of that environment. But that's sometimes easier said than done, but sometimes it's really easy. So like if that's like a low hanging fruit, you know, I grab it then. Like then that's an easy get rid of a negative tendency. Like, can I
yeah.
change the environment with that easily? Okay, I can get it out of that pretty easily. Or can I like if something's like reminding me like the cookies are always on the counter. Let's move the cookies from the darn counter.
The darn counter.
Darn. See, I can learn. I can learn. There's
You
hope.
work on you look at tendencies, you said.
Hmm. Yeah.
So, like, what was the last if you're cool with it, you can make up stuff or whatever, but, like, the last time you did this, what did that look like? What did you ask? Like, what was going through your head, you know?
We could do like sports performance. Maybe that's the first thing that comes to mind. Or you want me to think, or give me a genre. Because the first
So,
thing that comes
let's
to mind is like I when I tried to get better at disc golf recently.
let's say, maybe, like, something that includes, like, your kids.
Okay.
Somewhere in that for the because a lot of the people here watching or hopefully they're gonna watch are, they have kids and they kind of feel lost in that parenting aspect of it.
Okay. And where I use the persona to kind of help
Yeah,
with that.
yeah, and how you came up with that persona. What were the steps of coming up with that, the
Gosh,
tendencies you looked at?
dude.
Or just the last couple, just kinda whatever can kinda come to mind there.
Yeah. You know. that's one of those ones. The persona thing is actually kind of new to me. So I have only started doing that. So maybe it is good to talk about it in a way because like I'm in the starting phases of it, of applying it. Whereas the other times it's just happened more naturally. Like it happens naturally for me in sports, like I was saying, where I use that
So
persona.
this is something you identified. You're like, "Whoa, this is I
Yeah.
identify I'm
I just
doing this.
recently
Hold on, let me,
noticed
like
this.
it's
Yeah.
working, and let me, like, really
Yeah.
feel it into my life
Yeah.
purposefully then."
Yeah,
Okay, good. Okay, that makes
and then
sense.
I've been, like, copying and pasting it with clients who I think it would be useful with, and
Gotcha.
getting some data,
Okay.
basically,
Okay.
which is why I was
Alright.
excited to talk to you about it. Because and the reason I send you this stuff too is, like, I need another brain to, like, get me out of it's almost you get, like, when you get something exciting or you've got the like, the dopamine is so strong, I gotta make sure I'm not just being a zealot, you know?
It's just talking yourself into something because
Yes.
theory sounds hypothetical theory sounds really good,
Yes.
and all the
Yes.
mechanisms make sense, but then
Yeah.
we inevitably sometimes forget about something. We're like, "Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Got it."
and though but this big caveat that you're not thinking of because 'cause you're just
That
so
but
excited.
that's I think that's cool. That's science and how science should work and how scientists should work is by saying, "Hey, I have this stuff.
Yeah,
I'm gonna send it to you, and I'm gonna trust that you're not gonna gas me up. You're gonna be like, hey,
yeah.
here's this part of it." Like, "Oh, okay." Like,
Yeah, I got yays and nays with a lot of topics. Like, I try and find, like, who's gonna definitely say nay, and then I see if they say nay, and then I see, yeah, who's gonna definitely say yay, and then I see if they say yay. Does it actually go with my prediction? But anyhow, what like, in the parental situation, persona-wise, like, I'm actually actively researching the type of parenting that I like right now and the type of schooling that I like, and then I'm looking at the historical figures, and I'm just like I'm in the research phase of trying to develop that persona right
mm,
now, I would say. So who's like, gosh, like Montessori thought patterns is what I've been thinking about a lot. And then I looked into like Montessori's background and where that person came from. This is the funny, like Santa Claus is one that I think of a lot.
okay.
So I went into like the history of Santa Claus and like how that like started, and
Uh-huh.
try and get in like a Santa Claus esque mindset. I'm
Okay.
trying to find like a summer vibe right now because it's summertime, but I do like Santa Claus a lot, honestly. That's one of my favorite ones
Yeah.
right now. So like and there's all different kinds of Santa Clauses too. Here, I'll go with
Yeah.
that one. So like, Santa Claus is portrayed in different ways and then but I have a Santa Claus archetype in my head, you know?
Okay.
And my Santa Claus archetype isn't a pushover, I would say, as maybe some people would think, but he's not mean. He thinks of ways to like help in ways maybe that the kids wouldn't expect and tries to give a lot and tries to be like present, for example. And all those things pop up when I think of like my Santa Claus archetype,
Okay.
basically.
Okay.
So there you go.
And you chose you are trying to that's who you try to emulate. That's your thing for like when you're b parenting the kids.
I would say when I know I'm going into a hard situation with the kids. So things that are hard for me, like trips to new places, I would say, or far away places, or places where there's lots of directions or things I have to remember or things I have to bring with me, like pool parties, for
Okay.
example.
Alright. Alright. So that you
uh,
go into that Santa Claus skill tree and like, this is the skill tree
yeah.
I need to pull from to be a
Mhm.
good
Birthday
but fa
parties.
a fun but fair dad or
Mm,
whatever.
mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, like fun, but like I got like Santa Claus has to deliver the packages and we can't take all day, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Like he's
Santa
still
Claus
got a
has
mission.
boundaries too because there's other
Yeah,
kids around, you know what I mean?
exactly.
I'm gonna love
That's
you,
basically what
but,
I'm
like,
trying to
there's
say.
a million other kids, we gotta keep this
Yeah.
in mind too. Got
Yes.
it. Yep.
Exactly.
Okay,
Exactly.
that's interesting. How do you maybe this doesn't isn't something you have done, and if not, because it's new, that's totally cool too, but maybe how do you or how do you plan to, like, show persistence versus consistence to your kids, and what would that look like, do you think? Like,
Mm.
because I
Man,
know one of your
that's
daughters
a
is starting a new sport, right?
mhm,
So, like and
mhm,
I know one of them does, like, MMA type stuff, like wrestling.
mhm,
So,
mhm,
like,
jujitsu.
in sports, how do you how do you explain that? How do you come across? Because that's a place people like, you want to be consistent. We're trying to be consistent.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, like persistence builds consistency, probably,
Mhm.
ultimately.
Y I would say the most obvious thing I think to my children is just taking care of my body, like my musculoskeletal system,
Okay.
because we I think have I given you a tour of the house before?
Nope,
So,
just mostly the root.
okay, so, like, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different rooms that could be used as workout spaces without having to bring things up to that room at all. There's already equipment and stuff, like, randomly placed and set up, and, like, I do a lot of movement snacks, and I'm just trying to
Movement smacks.
Mhm, mhm, and, so so recently, I was telling Zena, my daughter, that, I think I might have aggravated, like, an umbilical hernia, possibly some kinda ab, like, strain,
Okay.
basically, because I'm throwing darn rockets
Like,
on the course right now.
I'm dropping dimes out there.
Dimes! Dimes. But, yeah, so I was telling her I don't think she was like, "Are you gonna go do your practice that you normally do?" And I'm like, "No, I can't do that right now." And she's like, "What are you gonna do?" I'm like, "Well, I'm going to get really into moving in different ways. So I'm gonna work on my wrist health. I'm gonna work on my calf health. I'm gonna work on my toe health. I'm gonna work on my spine health. I'm gonna work on my neck health. I'm gonna work on all my extremities outside of the core until my core is ready to go again."
So that's she's like saying, seeing you be
Mhm.
persevering is like finding a different goal, finding a different way. Like, oh, dad didn't
Mhm.
just quit; he found another way to do this.
Yeah,
She's
I'm
seeing it
still
in
gonna keep
action.
moving. I'm still gonna keep training, but my training is not gonna be as obvious for it right now because I
It's just
can't
going to
do
look
the
different.
right.
Yeah. So your consistency of training comes to being persistent by finding a different way to train.
Mhm,
Mind blowing.
mhm.
That's mind blowing.
Yeah,
I love that. I love that. It's such a
and then my environment reminds me. I have
it's
different things
everywhere.
all
It
over my
makes it
house.
easy, right? It makes
Yeah,
it like
yeah,
so low limbic friction where you're like, I feel like doing it. But also when you walk in, sometimes just seeing the equipment makes you like, I'm just gonna get a quick little pump. That'll be fun. And it's right here. It's not downstairs. Like literally do it in between. So the fact that you take that limbic friction away from you and your family means everybody's going to engage in it more. It becomes like regular things to play with around the house. It's
right.
toys.
Yeah,
Gym equipment is a toy. It's not a chore. It's not even a hobby. It's better than that. It's like a toy, which is something you play with and have fun with. And when you have fun with it, you're drawn to it more. Mike, you have set up your house like a genius for yourself and your
with it.
neurodivergent family because movement also produces dopamine, right? And being able to produce dopamine like that. So the fact that they can be persistent in their movement, they can be persistent through ease, through low amounts of limbic friction, they're able to consistently behave, right? They're able to consistently support their ADHD, which helps you guys kind of create closer, better bonds because there's less bickering, there's less fighting, and it builds supports for them long term. And I mean, I can only imagine what their houses are going to look like. You know what I mean? Because like a lot of you guys don't know this, but Mike here, I'm gonna say it, Mike. I'm gonna plug it. Mike was on Tiny Houses on was it 80? What was it on?
Yeah, it was, HGTV and a
HGTV.
couple other companies bought the rights to it, so it was
So
on
like
Amazon for a while, all that stuff.
and his he didn't just have one episode. They had a 2 episode one. They had a 2 episode one, which was it was super dope. I remember when he told me, I was like, "Wait, what?" Like, I was already flabbergasted that you moved into a mini house, like, but I was like, "This fits." But, like,
Yeah,
still, it
yeah,
was when mini houses just got to be
yeah,
a
yeah,
thing, and
yeah,
you guys were
yeah,
right on it, and
yeah.
then you made it into the fit nest, and I was like,
Mhm.
"This makes so much
Had to
sense," and,
climb
like
a rope. Used to climb a rope to the second level.
yeah, and
Mhm.
you guys
Dude,
developed your whole business out of that, that you guys have evolved now with so much novelty came from that, and I think it's cool. That fitness was like the beginning of so much for you guys, your
I
family,
know.
like, so many cool things.
It's crazy, yeah. Think about it. Dude, that was like 6 or more years gosh, almost 10 years ago now.
Yeah,
Almost 10 years ago, yeah.
crazy,
Mhm,
crazy.
mhm.
Well, before we get off here, people asked some questions, people sent me some questions, so I was like, "Hey,
Okay.
go to some questions," and so I kinda wanna get your take on it. Bro, look at this squishy I have.
Yeah, more brains.
Yeah. My daughter got it for me.
That's great. Oh,
Actually,
that's a
she
good
got it
one.
and
That
took it.
yeah, that looks like a great texture. Yeah,
It is.
very
I like
nice.
the ones that are real thick like that too.
Yeah,
Super
yeah,
fun.
yeah.
All right, so the first one here, it says, "Okay, you have me curious now. What's the actual difference between persistence and consistency? I always thought they were the same thing." But I think we covered this kind of at the beginning, like,
So there's not the biggest difference between consistence and persistence is consistence is more of a I'm doing it all the time, whereas persistence is more of a I'm going to not quit. I'm going to keep doing it when maybe after I fall off or I fail. It's like post failure continuance versus consistence is the streak. Here you go. Consistence is the streak. Persistence is starting again once the streak has been broken or
yeah.
changed.
I was just thinking, I wonder because I know my brain thought this initially when I thought the two is when I think of persistency, like getting back on the horse, right? So I'm riding the horse,
Mhm.
I fall off,
Right.
and then there's mom or dad to go, "Hey, get back up and get on the horse." Like
Mhm.
in a time frame of like, get right back up and get on it. And
Right.
that's what we look at as persistency, but that's actually more consistency. Like you get off, get right back up. You get off, get right back up. That's your consistently getting
What
back up.
creates
Pers-
consistency.
yes, but persistency can be like, I fell off. I need a day and then I'm
Mhm,
gonna get
mhm,
back
mhm.
on it. I need a week. I need
Well,
to get
there's
back. It's
well
not you're not just
managed.
quitting it, right? You're
Yep.
just taking time away to get back on, right? Like I can only do 10 reps of a certain amount of a deadlift before I have to take a break and get back on the horse of deadlifting again. It all kind of works the same. It's being persistent in it.
And you can be too persistent too, you know?
True.
And that's kinda where, like, the self-awareness has to come in, I would say, with any goal, but, I mean, I'd rather be worried about being too persistent than be worried about having a hard time starting anything,
Yeah,
I
I
would
agree.
say.
I think the parents listening though, I think it's a good idea to remember that like persistency doesn't mean they have to immediately get back up on the
Yep.
horse. It means they
Yep.
they can take a day. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's them as long as they don't go, I'm never doing it again.
Yeah.
That is now not being persistent, but it's like, "Hey, give me some time. Give me a week. Give me whatever it is." Like, that's still being persistent. Like, it's never
Yeah.
linear. It's a longer gap between the
Right.
consistency is all it
Assuming
is.
we know this behavior is what we really want, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
then you gotta go deeper, but yeah. Assuming we know this is the behavior we want to like, can we do it in a different way? Can we slice this up in a different way? I don't know what the aphorisms are.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, what how can we come about this different and sometimes you fell off
Yeah.
because, especially with ADHD, it was maybe an environmental thing. It was one of these
Mhm.
things, then it's, taking a step back to look instead of
Mhm.
just hopping back on and failing
Yep.
again,
Yep. But
right?
it's
Because
still it's
there's a
still
certain
something
amount
you
of
want to
winning.
do. Yeah.
Yes, we have to get back on, but we want next time we get on, we want some kind of win. So we want
Mhm.
to step back and go, wait, hold on, how can I change this to stay on longer, to win some more? So when I get off, I'm like, that was good. I didn't just bash my face again, and nothing's been getting better.
This is why coaching is really useful though, because it's really hard to do this by yourself. I'm
It
not
is.
trying to like tell people to get coaching because you can't do it without coaching. But like you gotta be the reason I can do this with myself most of the time, but I still like use my wife as a coach a lot of times. Luckily she works in this field. But the reason
Blessing.
I have that and I use that is because I'm really interested in this. Like if this is like Joe Schmo who's not really interested in his health and fitness, but he's being limited by his health and fitness, for example, he may not be as interested. So it might be helpful to have a coach, for example, like remind them like these are your tendencies, or remind them like, hey, it's okay to take a break now. It doesn't mean you quit. It just means you're getting
Yeah.
ready for the next level.
Yeah. I always think about coaching or as like me and my wife love to watch reality TV shows and like we'll watch The Challenge a lot. And everybody, there's all these competitors, and you see everybody talking to each other and making plans and all these things. And we're like, and then we see people making, and we're like, why are you doing that? Like, you're an idiot. And this thing, I always think like, we get to step back and see it all. These people are like in it. They're like very blinded by that. And that's why
Hmm.
having a coach is good because you're the person in the show. We are the person watching the show going, hey, just so you know, she said this and he said this. So what you think is gonna go well isn't gonna go well. And that's good to have.
Yeah.
That's intel, that's data, and it's real strong, good data to help you win. And that's
Right.
the coach is on the outside going, "Hey, hold on, I was watching the show and I seen some other things from afar, so let's talk about those things."
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you could get into a meditation practice and get super aware and like be set, but that's another friggin' thing to do.
You're gonna need another coach to do that. Either way, you need one. Um, all right, so one more. Somebody said, where'd it go? This makes sense, but how do I actually do it? Like, what do I do the day after I fall off? So, what would you say somebody falls off and now their immediate mindset is like, you know what? There I go, failing again. I can't do it. And that's the mindset that drives that I'm never getting back on this again. How do we drive that the other way?
Do you have any archetypes that you think of when you think of not quitting? I actually have like a do you know the poem, the Don't Quit poem? I just called the Don't Quit poem.
I don't know it.
No? Oh
Uh-uh.
man, I'm gonna pull it up. I wasn't that prepared. But so like I have a poem that I really like, for example, and all these things I'm going to talk about, they're just cues. I need to have cues in my environment. That helps me the most. Like we were talking about with the cues to work out. For example, when something gets changed, I need cues to like remind me that that's something I want. So like I'll write a list. I'll put the poem up on the wall. I'll get some sticky notes. I'll put it in my calendar, you know?
Okay.
And multiple ones, especially at the high stage, the initial stage. That's when I'm like, this is what I really want to do, and the dopamine's high. I try and like ride that initial to set up the framework of reminders and cues. So like the initial high, I'm trying to like plant all the
For like
seeds.
when you know you're gonna fall. That's not just
Yeah,
a stage for you to like
yeah,
learn and
yeah.
rabbit hole. That's actually a setup stage. So like,
No,
hold on,
yeah.
with rabbit
Mm-hmm.
holing, we got to set up because you're gonna fall off. The
Mm-hmm.
setup has to be there for
Yeah.
when you fall off.
So I'm tending to a garden. The garden is me,
Okay.
basically. Okay. And the habits are the seeds that I'm planting that'll grow into the trees, the skill
Okay.
trees that I want, basically. And
That was good.
so, yeah,
Bars.
yeah, is going to go, and then it might tank or it might stay and then tank,
Yep.
but it's not gonna be here. Okay.
Mhm.
Sometimes I get lucky and I'll talk to Adam and he's juiced about something and I'm like, yeah, let's go. Awesome. Yeah. But other than that, like I got a plan for that. So I try to set up the garden as well as possible right away,
Okay.
basically. And reminders. But the don't quit one, I mean, that's been with me forever. And I kind of feel like I have like a little don't quit team, honestly. Like there's people I've told that one, and this sounds like I'm tooting my own horn, but like I feel like you saved some lives with this one, honestly.
Okay.
You want to hear it?
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like you might have already heard this. By John Greenleaf Whittier, I
Okay.
believe. When things go wrong as they sometimes will, when the road you're trudging seems all uphill, when the funds are low and the debts are high, and you want to smile but you have to sigh. When care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but don't you quit. Life is queer with its twists and turns. I'm gonna get choked up. As every one of us sometimes learns. And many a failure turns about when you might have won had he stuck it out. Don't give up. Though the pace seems slow, you may succeed with another blow. Success is failure turned inside out, the silver tint of clouds of doubt. And you never can tell how close you are. It may be near when it seems so far. So stick to the fight when your heart is hit. It's when things seem worse that you must not quit. For all the sad words of tongue or pen, the saddest are these it might have been.
Thank you for sharing that, Mike. That was a
So
good
good
one.
though.
That is really good, bro.
It's almost guaranteed tearjerker for me
Yeah,
every time.
yeah, for sure.
Mm.
For sure. Well, knowing that, for sure, thank you for sharing that with us because
Oh,
that's not easy to do. But
I,
I
I
think
think
that's a great
every
quote.
time I read it, I think I'm not going to, and I'm like,
There
the
it is.
feels, the feels.
I feel it creeping up behind my eyeballs right here.
So good though. At least for
It
me,
is
it's
really
so
good.
good.
That is really
Yeah.
good. That is really
So
good.
that one's posted in multiple places.
I'm gonna look
So
that one up. after
Mhm.
I jump off. But I actually have to jump off. It's 2 o'clock here, and I have to get my son
Yep.
to baseball. But Mike, I so appreciate you being here with me today and sharing that poem and sharing your wealth of knowledge. And I know we're going to do this again soon. So I can't wait to have you back.
Yeah. Let's talk about personas more. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, we'll get
Yeah.
into that some more for
Stay
sure.
tuned.
All right, brother. I appreciate you.
All right, man. Thanks for having
Have
me.
a
Bye,
good one.
everybody.
See ya.